Daniel here for Tabletop for One, and my first impressions after 8 plays of Solar Titans. And I thank you for joining me tonight. Now, Solar Titans is a game designed by Philip Guy and Xian and published by SunnySideUp Games. And this is a game that I not only previewed for Kickstarter, but I also backed it because I love the game so much. And so I was really looking forward to getting my copy because between the time that I previewed it and the time that I received the production copy, the solo rules had actually changed. And so I'm going to go with some disclaimers here. 1, I have a friendly relationship with the publisher. 2, my name's in the rule book, even though it really shouldn't be. I gave them some tips and some ideas. They did their own thing. So and so there's some inherent bias there. So do keep that in mind when I'm giving my review here. And so with that in mind, let's go into the review. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the production quality. The production of Solar Titans is good. It has a strong, sturdy box, and the game is mainly cards, and the cards are of good quality. Now, the insert itself didn't fit my sleeved cards because I sleeve my cards, so bear that in mind. The graphic design and the art direction in this game, however, is just superb. I appreciate all the information that's conveyed on the cards, and it's conveyed rather easily. You can look at things at a glance and know exactly what's going on. There's not a lot of question as to, the icons and how they're used. There's only a few icons, so it's easy to learn. So yeah, a lot of the art choices and graphic design direction I commend because I just think it's fabulous. Alright, so let's go on to the gameplay. Now, the gameplay of Solar Titans is a deck building game. So you start out with a deck of 10 cards, and you're going to be drawing 5 cards every round. You're going to play those cards to do various things, and then the AI is going to get a turn, and it's going to go back and forth until one of the 2 starships is destroyed. Now, of course, there's more to it than that. You have different types of AI ships that you're going to be battling. You have different ship layouts for the AI ships, depending on the difficulty. I'll talk about this more in replayability. You have your own ship, and how it's built out at the beginning is different every time you play. And then on your turn, what you're going to do is you're going to draw a card from the market deck. It's going to tell you whether the AI is going to attack or repair. And so you're able to see what they're going to do and kind of plan around that. You'll play your turn. You're going to be spending cards to buy something, buy other cards such as armor and weapons and put them in your discard pile, which later will be shuffled, and then you'll draw them and be able to play them out. See, the armor and weapons you can build out on your ship, and you can build it out in this big old grid, so you can defend certain areas from attacks or add extra weapons to do extra damage. Now, the way you do damage in this game is you play these cards called arming cards. And so when you play an arming card, you'll be able to shoot one of your weapons in a straight line towards the enemy ship, hitting down one of the 5 lanes of the enemy ship. And so you just choose which lane you want to hit down, and you'll hit the first card in that lane. And so it provides this really interesting tactical experience where you're trying to figure out which way you should go and destroying which parts of the enemy ship you want to destroy. You also have flanking weapons which can hit from the sides. And your ultimate goal here is of course, to defeat the command deck of the enemy ship. And so the moment that you defeat the command deck, you will win the game. But you have to time your attacks right, because if they're going to repair this next turn, they might be repairing with a piece of armor that blocks more damage. So you want to prepare for that fact and perhaps do damage to an area, making it repair that area with that card, and then later attacking in a different weaker area. And so there's a lot of really good choices here. There's also other cards that do various things like boarding parties, which the boarding parties are pretty cool because they're flanking damage, so they can come in from the side. There's cards that give you more money. There's cards that are one-time use arming cards. There's all sorts of things you can do in this game. And so each ship battle is it's kind of like this fun action space battle cinematic experience, especially when you get to the end of the battle and you have this epic scenario like in my playthrough where I bet, I put a bet on that I was going to use boarding parties. And I saw the opportunity to set up a bunch of boarding parties to hit that ship from the side and take out the command center. And it was just an epic showdown. And so with that, let's go into the ease of solo play. This game is easy to learn. It really is. There's not a lot of rules to this game, so it's very simple to learn. Now, it does get more complex and more difficult depending on the difficulty you choose for the AI. And I like this because it has customizable AI. It has the ability to, make it as difficult and as complex as you want it to be versus as simple and easier. So you have those choices to make because there are multiple AI cards, these AI powers, kind of passive powers or active powers, that are challenging and change the way the game plays. And if you stack more than one of them, give the AI 2, maybe 3 of those, it becomes this really challenging, highly strategic and tactical game. On top of that, you then have the harder enemy ship layouts, which also add different abilities as well. And so yeah, you can customize this game, make it as easy as you want, as difficult as you want. And so it makes the game very approachable to most players. And so with that, let's talk about the replayability. And so like I said, with the different AI cards and the different ship layouts for the AI, the replayability is huge. And each game is not going to play out the same way. You're not going to be able to win with that boarding party strategy all the time because you may not have enough boarding parties coming out of the market deck in the right timing in order for that to happen. On top of that, the way the enemy ship gets their weapons and how it uses them and when it repairs and all that stuff is different every time you play. And so your strategy one game is going to shift completely to the next game. On top of that, the AI cards, right? The AI cards that, if this happens, then the AI gets this bonus. Those kinds of cards are going to change the way you do things, the way you make decisions about which cards you buy, which cards you use, whether or not you destroy both their weapons or just leave one weapon as in my playthrough. And so yeah, you definitely have a lot of different ways to play this game. Now the ship layouts that you choose each game, I don't find that they vary enough, to give you much replayability for your own ship. But really that's kind of a small gripe because, part of the way in the game, you've already changed the way your ship looks. And so that beginning layout is just, it's a beginning blueprint for what ends up being a ship that you customize yourself and you build out on this grid yourself. And so after 8 plays, I have not seen everything. I have a lot left to see. I've not done all the different AI combinations. I've not done all the AI hardships. I haven't done the hardest one. And so I could definitely see myself playing this dozens of times more before I feel like I've seen everything. And so would I recommend this game? Yes, I would very much recommend this game. For one thing, the price point is perfect, right? It is like $25, I think is what I paid for it. And so that price is perfect. Now, unfortunately, this game is out of stock. The publisher has completely sold its stock. And so at this moment, it is unavailable from the publisher, but it still might be available out in the wild and there might be some used copies available. So definitely check out BGG or some of the buy sell trade groups and that sort of thing. But yeah, you're not gonna be able to find it as readily available, but hopefully we'll see a reprint in the future. And I also want to say that this is one of the best deck builders that I've played. Again, take my bias into consideration. My name's in the rulebook. I previewed the game. I have a friendly relationship with the publisher. But I love this game. I love this deck building game. I love deck building games that keep your deck small because as you're playing cards out, you're playing the armor and the ship cards out onto your ship, it thins out your deck automatically. And I love that. I love keeping my deck small. That's why I like Stonewall Uprising and Baseball Highlights. Those are my 2 favorite deck builders. And this one's right up there. This is number 3 of my favorite deck builders of all time. And a large part of that is due to how they manage the deck. It doesn't give you this massive deck and you don't feel the need to build up this massive deck. You can't actually build up a massive deck because you're constantly playing cards out into the field. And I love that. I think it's fantastic. And so yeah, I highly recommend this game. But again, I'm sorry that it's not more available right now. And so there you have it. That was my first impressions after 8 plays of Solar Titans. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of this review or what you think of the game if you've played it. Please also like and subscribe to this channel if you like the content you see here. And I thank you very much for joining me on Tabletop for One. Have a great night.